Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is December 13th, and right now we're looking at the mid-level water vapor loop. You can see our frontal system off the coastline here. Looks a little bit menacing here, but it is a fairly weak front, or it's falling apart quite dramatically as it reaches Washington, Oregon. Better precipitation amounts across BC here. So we've got some stagnant air around as well. We've got some gusty east winds coming through the Cascade Gaps here also. We'll take a look at those details coming up. We'll take a look at the extended forecast, as it does look like somewhere along the west coast of the USA is going to get quite stormy as we move on in through the December period here, and we'll take a look at those details. We go through the video here this morning. Taking a look here, you can see some of that fog and that inversion out there in some of the valleys of Montana, Idaho, eastern Washington, Oregon out there, eastern BC, and probably some decent lenticular clouds at times today across some of the higher terrain. Get your cameras out for that, and you can see our frontal system as it's weakening, moving towards the Pacific Northwest off to the left there. Now take a look at the light mountain snow expected Thursday, the Cascades, northeast Washington, Idaho mountains. I'm not expecting much here, but watch out for some of the slippery conditions associated. Snow mainly being above 3,000 feet. Now looking at Washington, Oregon, you can see BC up here. You can see the gusty east winds here going on in through the day today. You can see the weak frontal system. Look at that thing just falling apart. In fact, it doesn't even really make it to the Washington, Oregon coast so much there. Very weak system. And then you can see the east winds actually make a return here as we go on into Friday morning here across some of the area all the way out to the coastline areas there as well. So hopefully that doesn't, I was hoping we'd scour out a little bit more for some of these inversions east of the Cascades, but some of the wind sheltered valleys out there might not get out of the inversion here. And then we're going to kick up these winds again here as I scroll through the NAM 3 cam one more time there. Now taking a look at some of the wind gusts that we did get, I believe there was a 43 mile per hour out there near North Bend here. You can see 46. So nothing too crazy, but there were some gusty east winds, and this is across some of Oregon here as well. You can see some gusts were up over 50 miles per hour. Looks like it settled into the mid 30s there for the Portland metro, but we're going to keep some of these gusty winds going here and then bring them back again as we go towards the end of the week upcoming here. Now looking at the composite reflectivity, there's our current frontal system. There's Washington, Oregon, British Columbia here, and you put that into motion. You can see that precip moving into Vancouver Island. Not bad amounts for some of BC here, but look at how much it's weakening by the time it reaches the Washington coastline there. Finally starts to bring some precipitation across Seattle, a little bit for some of northwest Oregon here, and you can see that pathetic front kind of move through there. Another weak impulse moves up as we go through Friday. The east winds continue at that point, and then we'll take a look at what we can expect and that in the extended forecast here in a minute. But this is looking at last night's European run here. Here goes that frontal system. Again, better amounts for western BC, just falling apart here as it moves across Washington, Oregon. Another impulse moves up over the area. Not much precipitation associated with that. But then our next round will come from that storm that's setting up off the coast of California. That low is going to fill and drift northward and bring another round as we go through the early portion of next week. So that'll be our next rainmaker here. And then things start to get a bit more active here across the Pacific Ocean. This is looking at Hoquiam, Washington. Here goes our frontal system today and tonight. And then you've got the next one out here as that low fills over the California offshore waters, then moves back up over the Pacific Northwest. Here, Spokane, not getting much precipitation out of either one of those events. We'll see if that one trends a little bit higher amounts as we go. This is Seattle, Tacoma. This frontal system not bringing a lot of precip. Then as that low fills up over the area, then you can kind of see some of the potential here for some bigger events here as we go towards the end of December. That's what we'll be watching here over the next few days. And if we take a look at the fantasy windstorm hunt, you can see there are some bigger windstorms showing up here. A pretty impressive one, actually, in ensemble member number 17, and that would be on Christmas Day. That would be kind of an interesting windy treat there. But as you can see, purely fantasy at this point as far as any big windstorms. But this is taking a look at ensemble member number 17 here. You can see you can actually go through all 50 European ensemble members. Each one of them is a model run completely out. So you can see as we go through the December 21st timeframe there, you can see a pretty strong storm moving into BC, another strong storm into Vancouver Island. But look at it, the things just get cranking here on some of these ensemble runs with very powerful storm system ripping into British Columbia here. This would be a region-wide windstorm, big winds across the area, and then another powerful windstorm just racing up the coastline. And then look at this low pressure center out there. That jet extension coming across the Pacific Ocean here. There's probably going to be some pretty interesting fantasy forecasts here over the next few days. Will that verify? Who knows? We'll continue to watch it though over the next few days. It's what we do here in the channel, right? Looking at the European ensemble ensemble mean? Now we're looking across Pacific Ocean. There's Japan, Hawaii, and you can see Washington, Oregon, BC here. There's Alaska. We're looking at about 39,000 feet up in the atmosphere. So there goes that weak frontal system falling apart. There goes the low pressure off the coast of California. It's going to fill and move back across Pacific Northwest, bringing the next round of precip to the early portion of next week. Another storm system tries to dive down towards California here, but then look at that jet stream really get cranking here across the Pacific Ocean here. Just an amazing signal. All the models are on it, and they've been on it for days. And look at that powerful jet stream bringing some storm potential somewhere towards the west coast as we go towards the Christmas time, maybe even a little bit later there. But yeah, powerful jet stream setting up, and we'll continue to watch that. But this is looking at the 500 millibar heights here, and this is at 18,000 feet. Here goes the storm for California, and that's what's going to fill and lift and bring our next round of precip there. Then another storm moves towards California, and then you can see the European has a few systems being swung through the Pacific Northwest as things really start to get active here as we go through the second half of December. You can see the potential across the Gulf of Alaska for some very deep lows here, maybe some atmospheric river activity somewhere into the west coast as well. This is 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook, above average here, but some of these overnight lows for some areas are still pretty chilly. This doesn't mean a lot this time of year. It's not like we're going to get broiling hot or anything. We're just talking about some overall average, above average temperatures through December 22nd, and this is the 8 to 14 day all the way through December 26th. Here's the precipitation for the next 6 to 10 days through December 22nd. You can see a bullseye is California. It does include some of Oregon and Washington, however, and lesser amounts expected across Idaho and Montana, at least relative to average. This is 8 to 14 day, and you can kind of see it coming back across Pacific Northwest as we start to bring that storm train into the west coast of North America. And the experimental product also has a slight risk of heavy precipitation here across much of the west coast. Risk of high winds is there also, and the risk of heavy snow for the Cascades, Sierra, and the Intermountain West here as well. And this goes through December 26th. This is kind of just a fantasy outlook here at this point, but it does look like we are going to get stormy here across the western portion of North America towards the end of December here. So yeah, this front is definitely, its bark is worse than its bite here. So this is going to try to bring some light precip in here and maybe some mountain snow, but not too much of it. And then we'll just continue to watch the extended forecast as California is going to get a couple rounds of storms, but we will get this system set off California, and then it will lift above towards the Pacific Northwest, and that will bring some precipitation with it. But anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. Click like and subscribe. We'll do this again tomorrow. We'll figure it all out again, and I will talk to you guys then.